happened to find this 528i on Craigslist. Let's see, 5-speed, which is kind of the reason I bought it. But it's got an ignition problem. So I'm going to be taking this apart today to see if I can either finagle it to work with just like starting with the screwdriver or back to normal. But pick this guy up. It's got nice wheels on it. Tires are shot. Pretty clean paint besides the hood. Got it for $300. So if I can get it to start, because I had to tow it home, if I can get it to start and run, go do some burnouts because it snowed again, which winter doesn't seem like it's ever going to end. But if we can get it started, we'll go do some burnouts, maybe go do some drifts. But this may become my gambler car. For $300, if I can get it running cheap, or for free preferably, it will definitely become the gambler car. So at this point, what I've done is I took the plastic off of the ignition column, and I'm working with this right here. This is the ignition switch. On the other side is the tumbler. So I unplugged this, and from what I've read, I got to get some Torx bits to go underneath, and the Torx bit right here. T30 is what I've read, and there's one under here. Removes this plastic shroud that holds this, and then there's 2 set screws. I'm going to pull this out, and then I'm going to plug this back in and put a screwdriver in this part and see if it'll start. Hope so. Be a cheap, easy fix. Into my first problem. There's a Torx right here. Kind of hard to see, but right there, that guy. I can't get I have a big, huge 3/4 socket. Can't get it on there. Can't get my little Harbor Freight set on there. So I'm going to take this off and see if it'll give me a little more angle to get that off. Because then once that's off, I'll be able to remove this plastic cover that holds it on. And then I'll get to the set screws. So I'm going to take these 2 screws out right here and see if that helps. Got both of the Torx screws out. I had to take a lot of the dash apart, but no big deal. So that removes this plastic shield. Now we're going to get to this guy. And underneath are the 2 set screws that hold it in. So from what I've read, they're just 2 little red dots under here. There they are. And 1 and 2. Scrape that goop off, and then there's screws in there. Phillips, from what I've read. So let me scrape that off and see if we can get this thing pulled out. So I got the ignition piece out, the ignition switch, and then if you look right here down there, that's where the tumbler comes through. And right now my key's stuck, but I've also ran into another issue where my freaking car alarm is going off in my garage and is bloody loud. So I'm going to see if I can plug this in, like so, and put a screwdriver in there and see if it'll start. I'm not sure if I'll be able to film it one-handed. I might have to get my other camera, but I'm going to give it a shot. So when I was tearing it apart, I was able, I think I showed this in the last video, I got this out, and I was able to get the dash lights to turn on, but the alarm was going off and the lights were flashing. Turns out when I was over here, I noticed this was broken. If it will focus there. Oh. But it's an antenna ring. Some BMW's anti-theft stuff. Broken means it can't sense the key when the key is put in the ignition, which means car does not crank. So what I did was I ordered a new antenna ring from ECS. Whoever owned this before, they kind of broke the plug though. So right now, let's see if it'll focus. Those 2 green wires, they're kind of just set in there touching the prongs. But as soon as I did that, and then I stuck the key in the ignition, it actually sensed the key and the door locks made some noises. And I'll show you if I can do it. It's kind of hard to do one-handed. Let me see if I can get it. So foot is on the clutch, screwdriver ignition. Money. She's running. Now, I haven't driven it yet, but it's running. There's nothing in it now. Obviously, it's in the on position. Key is just left here. So if I wanted to fix this properly, I'd have to replace the whole tumbler, and it's not worth it to me, seeing how this might be the gambler car I use. But seems to run good. It's got check engine light. I'll have to scan that. All the window regulators don't work, which sucks. But I mean, for 300 bucks, we got a running car. I'm gonna go take her for a spin here in a minute after I let it warm up a little more, and I'll scan some codes and we'll see what it comes back with. We're out driving it. It drives actually really nicely. Power smooth. Nothing feels out of the ordinary. No overheating yet. I think that's a miracle. I turned the traction control off. It actually works. I ran the check engine reader and it actually was only on for O2 sensor. So I reset it. We'll see if it comes back. Yeah, like, it drives nice. We'll see if we can get a baby pull right here. All the way up to second gear start. It's smooth, feels just like my other one, which makes me believe that there's probably nothing actually wrong with it now, besides like that for the door handle, and like the windows don't shut. Little stuff mechanically. Besides the power steering leak, I think it's good to go. Maybe I'll start commuting this every day to work. Heated seats work, has a heated steering wheel. Not bad, not bad. It'd be kind of hard to turn it into a gambler car. See, that's my problem. I always buy cheap cars, get good deals on them, fix them for cheap, and then I can never bring myself to actually do anything with them because they're too nice. Which is, like, if you watch one of my old videos, I had one of these. It was actually a 528 as well, auto, and I was going to turn it into an Exo set, like the Miata, but I actually turned it into a pickup, or a Ute. That thing was a blast. I guess we'll see what I want to do with this and decide from there. As of now, yeah, it runs real good. A quick follow-up video on the BMW. I've been driving it for 3 days now, but put about 100 miles on it. And the other day I ran into an issue where I thought the alternator was going bad, but it turns out the battery was bad, probably from the previous owner, who said because of the whole bad switch or bad tumbler situation, killed the battery a bunch of times, so the alternator was not able to keep the battery charged proper. And so when I was driving it the other day, I started getting a flashing battery light, and then my ABS and traction control light also started blinking. And then when I got to where I was going, I stopped, turned it off, and it wouldn't even fire back up. So last night I put a new battery in it and cleaned the terminals, charged it up, and I have not had a single issue since, and that's been about 24 hours ago. And before, it only took me a drive to work, which is like 15 miles, for it to start acting up. So I'm going to call it a success. Besides that, it's been running perfectly. Last night I also cut the muffler off of it, so it's got a little more sound to it now. I was gonna see if I could get a sound clip of it from the interior. I've always liked the sound of these straight sixes, the 2.5, the 2.8s, with just a muffler delete, leaving all the other resonators, cats, everything. But let me see if I can get a quick sound clip of it. There's a car coming, and then we'll go. my windows are all falling down now, so I've taped up a couple of them. But I wanted to drive it a little bit first just to make sure it's worth putting money into. I really only need the driver window to work, so if this will keep driving good for the next couple days, I'll probably just buy a driver window regulator so I can have at least one working window, and I'll probably buy the cable as well so I don't have this anymore. Just need the cable and the door handle. Cable at a minimum. And I think that'll be it. Well, I also mentioned earlier I got to get tires for it because these are completely shot, like almost on the wires. Probably shouldn't be driving it, but it's not that far. I'm gonna again drive it a couple more days, make sure that it's worth it, and then I'll probably just buy some tires and go out and change them myself. But that's the follow-up video. Car runs great, no issues besides the one day of it kind of tripping out because of the bad battery. Post some more videos soon. Maybe we'll do a burnout video with these tires since they're shot before I put the new ones on. So stay tuned.